well, if that is true, what is happening with this scenario, this austerity scenario where we are? Well, the first thing we have to say, at least me, is that we don't know yet. I don't know yet. But we have evidences pointing out in different directions. But that's still good, because that means that nothing is determined and that we still could act and change the direction of what is going to happen. Obviously, what we have seen before, there are some incentives to send women back home. I mean, if social services are cut, many services are privatized, and labor markets are becoming more and more and more flexible, but on the bad way, in the sense that not flexible because I need to be flexible in order to balance my working life with my family life and my personal life. No, flexible because the contract now are, I call you when I need you, just in case we have a contract, or zero contracts in the United Kingdom. Zero contracts, they will call you when they need you. But if not, you will not receive anything. And you cannot work for another employee meanwhile, because you have to be ready to work with me when I call you. Okay? And this flexibility is becoming more and more the norm. And even without contracts. So within this panorama, this scenario, many women, and I say women, unfortunately not men, though we are in Sweden and probably is the country where with Norway and Iceland with new masculinities are sort of better off than in other places, still are taking care of people, of other people, even here in Sweden. I mean, I use quite a lot time use surveys, and even if you are lucky here in Sweden that you are the country with Norway that if you sum up the time you spend in paid work and the time you spend in unpaid work, you sum up both for men and for women, you have the same time. So it means that you have the same free time, both men and women, the same available time. While in Spain we have 1 hour and 15 minutes less of available time each day on average, women compared to men, if we sum up both. But still, if it is true in Sweden that you have sort of the same time, free time and available time, if you look inside, and on average, the whole population from 10 years old up to the end, on average. But if you look inside, still women make two-thirds of all unpaid work. You do much unpaid work than men, and men do much paid work than you. So still there is a clear gender division of labor, even if at least you have sort of the same free time, okay, as an average. So that means that if care is still a female responsibility, and if it is so, within a labor market that need the other flexibility and very sort of and a lot of uncertainty, women must take very deep choices regarding maternity, professional career, and all these sort of things. That in some countries we know that already, because we have a very, very low fertility rate because of that, because it's very difficult to make a choice. Probably Germany, I think, is probably the worst country to make a choice between maternity and a professional career, not being in the labor market, but just a professional career. So all these incentives, I mean, if you cut social services and labor market is an uncertain world, and you are pay very, very low and everything, so there are incentives to send women back home because someone needs to take care of others, especially when the state is going back. But on the other hand, this time could be different. This time could be different because we have going through in the last years and even probably decades in some countries of equal opportunity policies, and many women think is in our right to have this equal opportunities policy. We have changed also our priorities, and also our education achievements are, with most of OECD countries at least, we are around 60% of people with a university degree or having a university degree are women. And education not only prepare us better off for the labor market, but also change our preferences and change our view of the world. And this is something we have to have in mind. So these things we have gained in the last year, not all women obviously, and not all women for all parts in the world, but at least in the developed world, are pushing women to stay in the market. And for instance, during the economic crisis in most of European countries, it was a very, very bad period to be in the labor market. We have seen something, a statistical effect called the added worker effect, so that more women were entering the labor market than before, while in the main case we have seen the other opposite statistical result, which is men were going out from the labor market. So male activity rate was going down in most of the countries, and female activity rate were going up. That has been true up to 2013. After 2013, we have seen both going back. But in the sort of the really bad moments of the crisis, women activity rate was, going up. So that shows us that really that women really wants to stay in the labor market. In any case, we should analyze and question to what extent this economic crisis, that has not been another economic crisis, but it has been, an opportunity to change institutions and to change policy. It has been taken as an opportunity, not for people, for a better world, and we thought at the very beginning, but from the elites and the financial elites and the European Union elites and other countries' elites, to change sort of the institutional framework. So we have to analyze if this change, this crisis and post-crisis, and the policies implemented to theoretically combat them, reinforce, destroy, or question the already existing gender norms. We will see that there are some steps forwards and there are differences, different outcome. So that was a kind of introduction. So I'm going but never mind. I have already said many things that. Also, okay, I go on. I suppose now to develop things that I have already said before, but that's already said. This work intensity I have already said, so I will not insist more on that. But this work intensity is really. I will just go to the long-term consequences, because the sort of the short-term I have already explained this idea that women, we have sort of, if social services are cut and families has less money to externalize some services, to pay for those services to someone else, obviously that means more unpaid work done within the family, because we have a gender division of work. That means more responsibility and more work for women. That is not only a problem, sort of a short-term consequence, but it could also have a long-term consequence. The most important I see is the idea that the sorpasso, this in education, that now more women are having university degrees than men, could be reversed because of that. I explain myself. This is especially true having in mind that some of the job cuts that are more important for that are in public sector. If we looked, if you take in your own country the fiscal data, for instance, and see where women are, where are the bulk of women earning sort of higher wages, you will see they are in the public sector. And it's not the case for men, because men do quite well in the private sector. Obviously, they have all the time they want. They have all the mobility they want, and they are sort of preferred workers for private sector because they have someone who is taking care of their beloved people while they are working so hard. Okay, so they are sort of preferred workers for private sector. But women tend to, especially high educated women, tend to enter in this public sector because the entrance is more meritocratic. Especially in certain parts of the public administration, you have to do it through examinations and all this sort of things, so it's more meritocratic, and more meritocracy is good for women, okay? Because women know that it's a safe job. And if they get pregnant and they go back for a while, whatever, it's a good place to be. So it's a kind of favorite career for women. And but this public jobs has been cut. I don't know very much. It is the Swedish reality, but for instance, it is the reality in many Southern European countries. It is especially the reality in the United Kingdom, for instance.